Hey everybody, here we go with stage 5. Again, there's never a dull moment. We've got lots to get into, and the major thing that we wanted to cover first is that we're back in Watopia. So today we've got what's called the Queen stage. Accelerate to Heaven is the name. Basically what we're doing, going around the coast, through the desert to the coast actually, and then up the Alpe de Zwift. So today is high mountain stage. I was really happy looking at my results yesterday. I had bumped myself up to 18th spot, sorry. I don't think I've mentioned this, but there's about 370 riders, 360, 370. Along the route here, like I said, through the desert, out and around the coast, and then up the Alpe de Zwift, which is a replica of the Alpe d'Huez in France. So there's 21 switchbacks, and most of the time it's red gradients. I think the average is 8.3 or 8.5. Our main thing that we're looking for today is to get ourselves into the front safely, leading into that section, and then we'll break the climb down. So I'm gonna start already in the action. It's very similar to the other stages where we started in a Fugo Flats pen, and the first 10k is basically uneventful. In saying that, actually, total 4 sprints today. So 13, 18, 24, and 26. 24 and 26 is pretty close together. The other ones are at least 4k, but that one's just a 2.5k. That'll be the main advantages of the cheat sheet. So back to the action. We're basically at the first part here. We're just leaving the Fugo Flats, going along the southern coast, which I've mentioned before is the new roads. So we're gonna try to stay in the pack. Today I noticed it was really easy. Like, everybody was taking it really easy in this early section. You can see sub 200 watts. And actually today, the strategy at the start, I didn't smash out of the start. So normally I spin up with 3 seconds to go, but today I just, with 1 second, and I didn't really even stand up. It was more like a surge that I would do when I'm climbing, so seated. So I did that, and I stayed in the middle of the pack, and then I got to the front here, and you can see the flashes that are going on. I was playing around with the companion app, and the companion app had like a feature to take a video. I was trying to get cool angles. These 4 sprints, I'm not sure how hot they're going to be. Are the sprinters just going to smash that and then take their time up the climb? That was my thought, because there's still a green jersey to be won, right? So I wanted to position myself in the front third through all of the sprints and manage my efforts. So the first one, the woodland sprint, it was longest. It was 500 meters in length. So that is significant. It's around 50 seconds. So similar to the leg snapper yesterday, but on a flat surface. So the torque going through your muscles, if you know what I mean, you feel this torque when you are low cadence, which usually happens going up a hill. And cadence is how fast you're spinning your feet. So you get that low cadence, and there's this torque that goes through your muscles, versus you're spinning fast on a flat section. I just wanted to make sure I was in the front and I was spinning as fast as I could. I usually average about 83 as my cadence. Even on a climb, I find I keep a good spin. And today's gearing, it was, my small ring is a 34 and my lowest cog is a 28. I told myself I would change that out to a 1130, which the 30 means that you have just a little bit easier of a gear, but I never got around to it. I did wax the chain. So here you see the first sprint, pretty fast and furious. I get a level up, which is great, and I'm right where I want to be. I'm staying with the pack, just hanging at the back of it, of course, and trying to keep my power below 300 watts. Ideally, I would like to keep it in the 250 range to get back into the pack. I had to go above that, as you can see, but I probably could have stayed below, because you see I surged all the way to the front. So everybody really eased up after this sprint. Now, I was wondering if there was going to be any breakaways today, because typically, if you're a poor climber, you break away off the front, and then that gives you an opportunity to have a buffer. And other team tactics, they would send a rider up. This is more real world again, because Zwift, it's not really conducive to breakaways. I don't know why. I mean, if I had a team and we were multiple people, I would certainly try to send some riders up the road. But I have never had that before, so maybe these teams have tried that and it fails. Normally what you would do, send a rider up the road, and he would already be on the climb. He would then ease up and wait for his teammate, so then he could kick it into gear again and tow his teammate up as far as he could. So that's what I would have done if I had a team today, but I didn't. I was doing the usual, riding wheels and surfing. One other important thing to note today was last year I remembered this particular rider. I don't look a lot of the riders up because it just makes you overthink. But this one rider last year was beating me, and she was a part of a team, and it was like the top 5 was 4 of them and me. She was an Olympian, and I saw her today, and that was good for me to pace myself, because I knew last year I kept up with her most of the time. And now she's probably gotten fitter, or is in good shape. I noticed she was in the next class up, so she's upgraded to Ghost Pepper, while I'm still in the Habanero class. Usually my fitness is July, not January, so you kind of can't have both. We're getting ready for the second sprint, which is coming up at 18.4, and this for me today was the drama. So this one was 350 meters, but it starts after this bridge. Well, much after the bridge, but I was trying to stay at the front, and then I said to myself, because this one's short, maybe I'll just give it an all-out sprint today. It's short. What can I do for 350 meters? I haven't tried in a long time. And then I was also thinking tactics, like start sprinting when you're in the pack, and you'll see right away that the waters goes to 0. So what had happened is my bike actually came out of my trainer. My quick release skewer wasn't tight enough, or has loosened over time, because I didn't take the bike off recently. The bike came off, and I almost fell like off the trainer because the bike was tilted now. I had to jump off real quick, fix the skewer, snap it back in, hop back on, and this is what we're seeing now. I said to myself, oh, no. I am not ruining my day now. And it got above the magic 6 seconds. So this is what I mean. You have to really, really push to close anything over 6 seconds down. And you'll see that I was in the 350s, 340s. I was 400s. And then now I'm tired, so I'm fading. But I'm so close. And I know right now there's some rollers that we're in until 21.2. And we've done this route. Like, this is the 3rd time through this section, so I'm pretty familiar. So I spike, I get on the back, and my heart rate went through the roof. I was already, I believe 171 is what I saw. And now all I'm thinking is, please just be able to go easy. And you'll see that I asked the group to shout out to my mom. I sent it to a bunch of people today, just like friends. I find it difficult to balance, hey, here's me doing this thing and feeling like I'm bragging in some way, shape, or form, versus like including people in this. I don't like spamming people, basically. If somebody's interested, I've told them about it, they'll inquire. But today I was like, hey, you know what? I could use the extra oomph. And even though I don't check my phone while I'm doing the racing, I imagine when I hear like my text messages dinging, it's people saying like, way to go, or give it to them, or whatever. It's a Jedi mind trick I use to just motivate myself to stay focused. Here we are getting ready to come up to the next sprint, which is at 24. This one is a downhill sprint. I think it's a negative 1.1, but it's long. It's 450 meters. And now I'm a bit apprehensive to stand up and sprint. So, because I don't know what's happening with the rear. And when I locked it, I did it pretty quick. I didn't get a chance to tell. Could it be tighter, I should say. How do I preserve myself? And can I handle this right now? Because you'll see my heart rate has come down. But again, like yesterday, I'm still labored breathing. So I'm breathing quite heavily. I decide to stay seated unless I start losing the group. Similar tactic to yesterday. But I'm also noticing again, between the sprints, things are going much, much, much slower than they have been in the last few stages. I'm not as concerned about having to stand up because I think I can just push back on. What I would consider my upper aerobic, 225, 220 watts. I figured if I did that, I could still come back to the pack. But better safe than sorry. And this starts on a bridge. So here we are. I'm seated. And I see the pack coming by. And then I stand up here. You can see the fire coming out. Anybody with the red socks, those are called the fire socks. When you sprint, it does that Easter egg, I guess, in the game. So the pack broke up a bit. This is the third one. I'm wondering, hey, maybe these guys were waiting until this one to put in a punch because the two of them come so quick. Maybe they can shell some people out and get an advantage to move ahead. I wasn't playing. I just pushed myself right to the front and said, all right, good to go. And you'll notice as well, today I've been sending each of the sprints out to everyone, letting them know. I was a little bit more active on the messages. I realized when I did the last video that I shouldn't just assume people will go to the site. I should continue to encourage them throughout the event. And last year, I mean, I did it genuinely just to help people, but I noticed at a certain point it afforded me some alliances on some certain climbs. So here we go, 26.6. We got another 600 meters. This one will be on the stone, and we've seen this before already. So it comes a little riser, flattens out, and sprint to the banner. And then the stone stays for a little bit longer after the sprint. So just again trying to stay in the pack. I think at a certain point I was messing around with my camera, taking some filming stuff. So I noticed when that happens, I started to put out more power than I should. So this one I said, you know what, stand up. Don't be shy. Don't worry about your bike. If you start worrying about that stuff, it's going to play with your mind. Let's say it came off again. As long as I'm not in the jungle section, I'm okay. Because I don't want to get started again through the dirt. It's hard to get your top speed up. Like when you go into the dirt with a high speed, it scrubs it off. But getting up to a high speed in the dirt, I find is a little bit of a different task. So here we are. I'm feeling all right. and I'm calling out things. I'm a little bit more active today, like I said in the messages. But I'm looking at jungle section starts at 29.9, and then we're basically up into the Alp de Zwift. So what that looks like today is this. So you can see we start at the bottom here. Let's put on the markers for you guys. And it is a whole slew of switchbacks. And you can see the gradients are pretty hairy. So it's a hell of a climb. It's probably the hardest climb in the game. There's another one, Ventop. It might be a little bit harder. But the thing with this, it has a unique way of breaking down the climb. So that on the left there where you see, normally you see this jungle loop here, and break down each of the switchbacks. And it gives you its distance, its average gradient, I think. I could be wrong. But it also shows you your personal record. So it encourages you, because you know I've done this before. We got to go through this jungle section. And once we're through the jungle section, we'll be at 31.2 at the Alp de Zwift. There's this little bump just before we get into where the Alp is. And you'll notice here I do like a helicopter view leading into it. I just remembered these green gates that you see here. You have to earn this section in the game. I don't know what it is. I had that when they launched it already. As you saw earlier, I just hit level 60, and there's a total of, I believe, 100 now? They just updated it a while ago. Used to only be 50, and it took forever in between them. But now I think they have 100, and it's a lot quicker. So, into the bottom of the climb, I'm thinking, be at the front, and I've broken this down. I know every single little detail of this, as you can see here. I mark out the max, the average, and then there's a total of 14 sections. There's certain turns where you can sling around as well. But so I'm looking at that on my TV. It's just out in front of me, and I'm just following it so that I know whenever there's a respite. Now, I just watched the video last night as well, so I knew it quite fresh. Like before I went to bed, I made this. So it was fresh in my mind when I woke up, and I knew this first section was steep. It was into the reds already. So I told myself, go what you think you're going to target for the whole climb, and see how that compares to the rest of the pack. So I wanted to average today 265, 270. And then in the red sections, push it up into the 285, 290. If it was a real red section, like 13%, I would get out of the saddle and try to get into the 300s. But just managing it. Today, I decided to use caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I'm not a big drinker of soda. I drink one here and there. Actually, I'll have phases. But I didn't have any I don't have caffeine in my diet. So before the race today, I went on the internet and I was like, oh, what's the dosage again? So before the race, I had taken 200 milligrams in a capsule format. And then each of my bottles, I had dissolved one of the capsules for another 100 milligrams each. I'll be honest, when I was riding, I was like so focused and I felt so good. And I was like, is this the caffeine? Like, I don't use this enough then. So I'm going to try it tomorrow. Now, after the race, it was absolutely horrible. I had these caffeine jitters. I didn't feel like I had an appetite. I felt almost woozy or dizzy. but I'm okay now. After a couple hours, it went away. I hope I can sleep tonight. You can see we're into this, and I'm keeping myself towards the front, and there is our friend. So I said to myself, okay, she's here. I've been here before. Her and I have climbed some of these before, so I know that I'm going okay. Keeping her wheel is my idea, and because I know she's really good at pacing. That's what I've noticed. And I noticed their kits are different this year. They used to be red and black last year, or red, black, and white maybe. So through the first couple turns, we're coming up here now to turn 19. You'll see how the pitches get really steep sometimes towards the switchbacks. So you can use that as an opportunity to sling around, because then at the switchback, as you saw there, it just flicks on 4-5. Not all of them, but some of them. So I know right now I've got I just went through that plateau. Now we're in a section for 450, and right here we're going to get another little lull at 33.1. Not very long. Again, it's just a sling around turn 17, but it's something to know because it gives you an advantage. You can see later on, I definitely use it a lot more when I'm being chased down. I noticed there was 2 NL riders off the front. So one is pacing the other to a certain point, and then he's going to let the other guy go. I want to be with them at that point. It'll be advantageous for me to utilize their, or domestique, what is the name of that position in cycling. It's basically the person who sacrifices themselves for the leader who could win. So I see he's slowing up here. The blue and orange, I think she saw it as well. So I try to just stay on her wheel and not let things get too far away. I feel okay. I'm looking behind 9 seconds already, and we just started. So I know that we're going at a good pace, and we're just below that aero advantage. You see it's 15. That's the other thing, is even if you have a domestique, sorry, and even if I'm trying to draft, most of the time we're going below the 15 in those steep pitches, or in the reds. But like here, it's huge advantage. You could be doing 230, 240, and the person in front could be doing 300, 330, and you could just get towed along and increase the gap. So at this point, I'm looking at the NL rider, and he's going. This is his attack, and I can see this is 1, 2, 3 right here, right? And this rider on my left with the alien kit, he comes into play later on again. So changing the camera angles, I want to kind of see who's behind, how far are they behind, what do they look like. You can see the second gap, but I always like to see the distance as well. And on a hill, 6 seconds is not a huge amount of distance because it takes longer to cover the distance. So when you're going 40k an hour, obviously 1 second you go a longer distance, right? I'm kind of trying to play leapfrog with her, do some work, let her come back, let her do some work, and then I'll come over again. I figured if we collaborated, neither of us had teammates right now, and the NL rider had a teammate, so try to form an alliance. But again, I have no way of really speaking to her, and I'm not going to message that because then everyone would know the tactic. What's the point of? So my legs are feeling good. I'm looking up at the distance remaining. I keep checking the cheat sheet, and I'm feeling positive. I said to myself, wow, maybe I can get a podium today. Not sure if I can. The alien rider seems strong, and this NL rider is already putting 8 seconds. I don't know how he's a habanero, but I'm sure other people think the same thing of me today, because I'm doing 0.4 over 0.5 over at some points. And it's just my strength. I can't hold that wattage on a flat at all. But when I'm going up a hill, I get a rhythm, and it comes easier to me. I feel like my legs are pistons, and I'm pedaling with my knees. Versus on the flat, I feel like I have to really tug my pedal stroke over from 6 o'clock to 12. 12 to 6 is fine. So I'm like quad heavy, and it works on the climbs. It doesn't work so much on the flats. He's clearly on another level. Not sure which one, but he's certainly there. I think in the end he puts in a minute to me, but I won't reveal where we finish yet. So I'm seeing 8.5K, and I know the course isn't ending right at the banner. There's another couple hundred meters past that. I told myself 1200. I thought it was a full loop around the top before going down the descent, but it was much sooner than that in the end. But I told myself, oh, I only have 7K to go, because I thought 1.2K at the top. And I'm looking, I still haven't seen the steepest bits yet. Steepest bits are coming 36.9, so another kilometer. There's a max pitch of 14%, and then there's another one like that pretty close after, 37.6, somewhere in and around there. So, but once I'm through that, so once you're at 38.6K or so, the pitches are now 11s and 10s, which is, after you go through 13s and 14s, a little bit more manageable. So you see as well, when we're going up here, the scenery changes. At the bottom, it was quite green and lush, and as we come up here, it's starting to get a little bit more barren. You're starting to see snow and evergreens, and there's the writing on the roads as well. If that's in real life, there's the LA, 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 and all the fans. If you've ever seen the Tour de France, they would be like lined on the corner here. And actually, speaking of the Team Netherlands rider at the front, there's a famous corner on the Alpe d'Huez. I wish I knew what it was, but it's called Dutch Corner, and it's famous. They have like the smoke flares or whatever they are, the going off, and the bells and flags, and people are in costumes, and it's rowdy. Let's put it that way. So here we are. We're another kilometer later, and we're just managing the effort. I'm telling myself, okay, I've put 10 seconds, and then as I start looking back, I'm seeing 30 seconds, a minute. And coming into today, I was 18th at plus 5 minutes. I think it was 5:41 or something like that. So I said, oh, I could take a minute back today. That'd be great. I don't know, since it's the weekend, I don't know if the riders are riding the same patterns, but I figured I would ride this race. I figured it was still going to be the fastest one. The 1 p.m. here and the 6 p.m. there, I still figured would be the fastest race. Even though today you can see the numbers are down and there's only 169 people today. So maybe some of the strong riders jumped into the other time slots, raced them in the morning, etc. And I was actually considering tomorrow's race is the longest stage. I was thinking, oh, maybe what I should do is push that to the evening to get extra recovery, because Monday we have our day off, and then we finish off Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was thinking of that, but honestly, I'm a bit too paranoid. I don't want to. I made that mistake last year. One of the stages, I joined the wrong pen instead of a pen, because last year they didn't have the pen rules. You could join whatever pen you wanted, and they've sorted all that out now. But I joined a pen B because the day before I was an A, and I felt like, no way, I can't hang with those people. So I'll take B and chill out a bit more and everything will be fine. It can't be that much slower. But it ended up being like 5 minutes. So I don't want that to happen. Gonna sling here around turn 9. Again, a little bit of a lull. And we just push a little bit of pace. I'm noticing the time going up. And I'm feeling like, wow, I might have second place today. I definitely can't catch the front guy. He's already 40 seconds ahead. That's gone. He'd have to have a catastrophic failure of some kind. So I'm not betting on anybody's bad luck. It's good when it happens, but he deserves it. He really pushed hard. And then we had another few riders behind us about 20 seconds back. I mean, with 5K to go, I'm in the hurt locker, of course. I feel good, but I'm looking at the power and I'm just telling myself, do your own pace, do a rhythm, stay at 265, just like you came into the event saying, you feel good, but even though, still try to stay at 265, 270. That's enough to keep pace ahead of everyone else. The rider we just passed is a teammate of hers. So you notice the same jersey. So I'm thinking maybe that rider helped her. I couldn't tell. I can't see them on my results because they're in a different category. But they're allowed to drop back from the front pen and sacrifice. Again, it's 2 minutes. So they can sacrifice that time as a stronger rider and pull one of us up. That happened last year in one of the stages. I had a club mate I hadn't really known, and one of the mornings he asked if he could tow me along because I was at that point doing decent in the overall standings. I think it was top 10 at the time. So I see her coming back and I put in a little bit of a surge. I'm kind of determined. I really want this second place. But in the back of my head, it's creeping in that it might not happen. But I keep it going. I keep it steady. I try to keep my wattage ahead of hers. And I see she's got a rider with her. So there's two of them. And the idea here is to just stay 5 to 10 seconds ahead of them. Just try to keep that gap, because it's pretty hard to bring that back on this type of climb unless I completely fall apart. And you can see my power is waning a little bit here. It's dipping down to 230, and I catch myself and I spin it back up, and I'm spinning. Like, look at the cadence there is 93, 92. So I'm really turning the pedals over as fast as I can. I kind of try to do a couple different things, breaking the climb up. At a certain point, I'll spin really hard and really fast. Other times, I'll gear down and I'll mash a little bit. Moving between the two helps keep me invigorated. And I can see over on the left there, I've been averaging about the same power each section, exactly what I wanted to be. You can see 11 was 266, 10 was 269, 9 was 266, 8 was 258, 7 was 267. And my heart rate today is in thresholds. So this is like perfect for me. 164, 165, it's comfortably uncomfortable. That's the best way to describe it. So we're going up here through this cut snow. Again, you can see how the environment is changing. It's getting more harsh and more snowed. And we'll start seeing some radio towers and some construction. There's 4K to go. And I told myself again, really only 3. And I tell myself, come on, you can do this. 3K. This is the volcano climb. And we've already done that. So here we go. Slinging around 6 again. Getting a little respite there. And then right back on it. I'm in my small ring and probably in my top 2 or 3 gears. Right now at an 8%, I'm feeling okay. There's definitely reserved cogs in the back. And I'm spinning comfortably. I can only comfortably do like 95 without starting to like bounce. I mean, I can do higher, but not for any duration. But 95 for a decent duration with no bouncing in the saddle. And it's at this point I don't want to concede second still. I still have a dream of second place here. So as they start closing, I just focus on a rhythm. Actually, I think I put my head down at one point and just for 10 or 20 seconds focused on trying to get a rhythm. But you can see the numbers are dropping. She's now 3 seconds. And at the same time, she's been towing that other rider. So I'm telling myself, if I don't get away now, back up to 6, 7, 8 seconds, I'm never going to stay second. That second rider is going to be fresh enough to blast past me. But I'll try my best. We're getting close now. About 2K to go. And you can see there on the left, we got 4, 3, 2, and 1. And it's at this point I'm kind of trying to do math. I can't even do math because I want to know exactly, where is it? I don't think I've ever gone up this really, really hard. The one time I did it as a group ride, and I didn't know when you clicked on the keep group together, it would hold me back. So that would have been my best time, but basically when you click that off in the game, the slowest rider keeps the furthest rider a certain distance away, and no matter how hard you go, you don't go any faster. So 2K to go. We're just finishing. I'm now in my brain saying, you can hold this. You got 6 seconds. I'm starting to put some time into them and thinking, okay, maybe I can pull this off. And I'll push to the end, but I'm gonna put in a little surge. Like, this is like, can you break them? And the answer to that question, no. I didn't break them. They kept the gap 7, 8 seconds, and I'm now looking at that second rider thinking, I need a gap of at least 13, 14 seconds. How can I get that gap? And I can't do any more than my 265 right now. I'm decently keeping the 265. I'll dip down and then I'll burst up a little bit. But I know that I don't have much more punch left. And I see these steep gradients and I try to do a little punch, but right here, huge mistake. My wattage went down right as the 11% was there. And now it stayed down through the 9 and 10. So now I'm asking myself, oh no, are my legs starting to fail? It's this close to the top? Please no. But the gap is still at 10 seconds to that second rider. And again, you can see the leader is a minute and 12 seconds ahead. So that game's over. So just spinning here again, trying to get into the 90s, telling myself spin as fast as you can to get that power up. Trying to do like a full pedal stroke all the way from 12 back to 11:59 on the cranks. And just turn. And I know I've got the sling at 1. 2 doesn't have much of a sling. But at the number 1 turn coming up here, there's a little bit of a sling as well. And then the worst part, there's like this drag to the end. And you can see the end. And for some reason, time goes so slow. So I'm still holding my gap. And I'm wondering, are either of those two going to attack? And then the gap starts to fall. So I see that they're putting in a surge again. And I can't do 4.5. I fake it here for a minute. Well, not even, you know what I mean, a few seconds. But I can't maintain it. I just wanted to kind of bluff. Like, oh, you're going to try to do that power? I'll do it too. To give them a reason to give up. But that second rider has already now made their attack. They're coming. I know that game over for second place. That's just a matter of time. My power's going down. I'm going to sling across here. And then here you can see just up to the right there where the statue is the finish line. And it's at this point I get past. Pretty heartbreaking. 1.1k to go, but that's how racing goes. This person really dug deep and definitely deserves it. I know I couldn't have put out any more than what I did, and I believe they're going to pass me here and put time in me. And it's, again, Mr. Alien Rider from earlier. Or her, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, I haven't checked the results. So there they go, they ride me off their wheel. They definitely attacked over the top. And I tried to push back a little bit, just to see. I said, no. I'm not going to also lose the podium. I'm going to be able to, like, every ounce of energy out of me to not lose this third place. Third place on a stage is pretty good. I've won a stage before, and I've come third another time, but this time, this is a whole different animal stage. Really proud of myself today, and I saw that the gap was still 9 seconds. I eased up there a little bit, pushed up the yellow gradient here, or sorry, red. And then, now the question is, can I keep that gap to the finish line? And could I close the gap? And then I looked up and I was like, oh, 16 seconds, no way. I'm not going to close that in 500 meters. So just pushed hard to the end. And now that I'm starting to get up into the top 20, every second definitely counts. And just pushed right through the line. And there we go. Third place, a minute and 8 back from the front winner. But only, looks like 15 seconds from the rider who finished second. So pretty awesome to have gotten a podium today. Didn't think that going into the stage. Definitely have not had the confidence that you need to win a stage up until now, but all that changes in a blink of an eye when your body responds to what you're giving it. So tomorrow we have the longest stage, stage 6. It is hilly and long. I think it's 62k. If you see me out on the course, say hi, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.